Hi, you two. Sorry, we had a bit of a problem, but we're back. Okay. You'll find it's doing you a lot of good, that medicine, Grandma, George said. Good, she screamed. Doing me good. It's killing me. Then she began to bulge. She was swelling. She was puffing up all over. Someone was pumping her up. That's how she looked. Was she going to explode? Her face was turning from purple to green. But wait! She had a puncture somewhere. George could hear the hiss of escaping air. She stopped swelling. She was going down. She was slowly getting thinner and thinner again, shrinking back slowly to her shriveled old self. How's things, Grandma? George said. No answer. Then a funny thing happened. Grandma's body gave a sudden sharp twist and a sudden sharp jerk, and she flipped herself clear from the chair and landed neatly on 2 feet on the carpet. That's terrific, Grandma, George cried. You haven't stood up like that for years. Look at you. You're standing up all on your own and you're not even using your stick. Grandma didn't even hear him. The frozen pop-eyed look was back with her again now. She was miles away in another world. Marvellous medicine, George told himself. He found it fascinating to stand there and watch what it was doing to the old hag. What next? He wondered. Here she is all blown up, look. Can you see? Here we go. I'm going to show it around everybody.
Oh, I can't see your face.
Okay. And then she's waiting to see. Here she is all shriveled up. Ready, stood up again, jumping after just doing that backflip. Okay. He soon found out what else was going to happen next. Suddenly, she began to grow. It was quite slow at first, just a very gradual inching upwards, up, inch by inch, getting taller and taller, about an inch every few seconds. And in the beginning, George didn't even notice it. But then she passed the 5'6" mark. That's about my height when I stand up. And was going on upwards to beginning to be 6 feet tall. George gave a jump and shouted, Hey, Grandma, you're growing. You're going up. Hang on, Grandma, you'd better stop now or you're going to be hitting the ceiling. But Grandma didn't stop. It was a truly fantastic sight. That ancient scrawny old woman is getting taller and taller and longer and thinner as though she was a piece of elastic band being pulled upward by invisible hands. When the top of her head actually touched the ceiling, George thought, she's bound to stop. Here is, are you ready to see her touching the ceiling? She is so tall and skinny. Look at her. Oh my goodness me.
Has she got any bones?
She'll still have all her bones. Everything's getting bigger and bigger. But she didn't stop. There was a sort of scrunching noise and bits of plaster and cement came raining down. Hadn't you better stop now, Grandma? George said. Daddy's just had this whole room repainted. But there was no stopping her now. Soon her head and shoulders had completely disappeared through the ceiling, and she was still going.
Grandma.
George dashed upstairs to his own bedroom, and there she was, coming through the floor like a mushroom. Whoopee! She shouted, finding her voice at last. Hallelujah! Here I come! Popping her head up through the ceiling. You can see as well.
Oh my God.
There you see. She must have gone up quite strongly to get her head through the ceiling.
Yeah.
Steady on, Grandma, George said. With a high money-ho and up we go, she shouted. Just watch me grow. This is my room, George said. Look at the mess you're making. Oh, terrific medicine, she cried. Give me some more. She's as dotty as a donut, George thought. Come on, boy, give me some more, she yelled. Dish it out, I'm slowing down. George was still clutching the medicine bottle in one hand and the spoon in the other. Oh well, he thought, why not? He poured out a second dose and popped it in her mouth. Ow-wee! She screamed, and up she went again. Her feet were still on the floor downstairs in the living room, but her head was moving quickly towards the ceiling of the bedroom. I'm on my way now, boy, she called down to George. Just watch me go! The attic is above you, Grandma, George called out. I'd keep out of there. It's full of bugs and boogles. Crash, or just dirty, messy things and who knows what, really. Ooh. Crash! The girl's old head went through the ceiling as though it were butter. What do you think that means, as though it was butter?
I don't know.
Go on, what do you think?
It was like the roof was butter and the head just went through the butter.
Yeah, it went straight through. It'd be a lot easier to push your head or your finger through some butter, wouldn't it, than to push your finger through a roof. So it's just saying it means that it was a lot easier to get it through. George stood in his bedroom gazing at the shambles. There was a big hole in the floor, another in the ceiling, and sticking up like a post between the two was the middle part of Grandma. Here she is, the middle part of Grandma sticking up. You can only see her body and her arms.
Wow.
She's just the middle of her body. Oh my goodness. Her legs were in the room below and her head was in the attic. I'm still going, came the screechy voice from up above. Give me another dose, my boy. Let's go through the roof. No, Grandma, no, called back George. You're busting up the whole house. To heck with the house, she shouted. I want some fresh air. I haven't been outside for 20 years. By golly, she's going through the roof, George told himself. He ran downstairs. He rushed out of the back door into the yard. It would simply be awful, he thought, if she'd bashed up the roof as well. His father would be furious. And he, George, would get the blame. He had made the medicine. He had given her too much. Don't come through the roof, Grandma, he prayed. Please don't. Well, I wonder if she will. Here he is looking, praying. I wonder if she'll end up through the roof or not. We'll have to find out on Monday. See you later.